Good morning. Welcome on in, DJ and PK. Thanks for joining us on this Monday morning, May 19th. Got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about, first off, RSL, man. They lose again. They can't score to save their lives. Right now, we're going to hear from Coach Pablo Mastroeni.
Diego's a competitor. He's absolutely a competitor, and again, I think that's what we need. We need personality in that attacking third. And obviously, 70, we talked about it last game, Caleb, where in this, 70th minute he was running on fumes, right? So then you go into this game and about that time he wasn't getting near the ball, and just felt like some fresh legs could go in. And it's a gamble to take, and that's why I didn't take it at home the previous game, is because right now Diego's the most dangerous, goal dangerous player we have, but I felt like we were getting the ball in good areas, and felt like some fresh legs might be able to do the trick.
Gotcha. And then speaking of the fresh legs and the goals, I guess, what did you see from the guys that came in, and maybe what's kind of the plan from here on to get some more goals in the back of the net?
Yeah, well, that's what we're talking about. And again, I keep talking about this. Tactics will get you in and around goal. At the end of the day, you have to make plays. What does making plays look like? Just so that we're clear, is the quality of service has to be really good. And today we had one really good cross from Dom. Right, so we played 90 minutes, 97 minutes, and there was one quality cross, right? So that's one way to make a play. The other way to make a play is, even on those crosses that aren't great, we've got to have guys get into the box in dangerous areas, right? So just gambling that the ball is going to show up in that spot. The third way is creating an opportunity for yourself, right? And so dropping a shoulder, top of the box, shooting, taking guys on 1v1, a lot like what Diego Luna does. And so there's just no secret in football that you have to make plays, and that's something that we haven't been able to do this year. Last year they came in droves. It was so different last year, where we had guys scoring from 50 or 60 yards from goal, making plays, right? It was one of those things, and to break the snide from scoring goals, you guys have to make plays. Again, I feel like box to box, we played a really good game. And I say that every game. And so, again, I know the guys are giving their best effort. I know there's a lot of young players on the field. I know there's not a lot of experience up top. I know Willie's just getting his legs underneath him. But it's crunch time, and again, everyone wants to play, right? All the attacking players want to play. And the way you stake a claim in that position is making a play, because everyone does the work on both sides of the ball. Everyone's in good spots. Everyone's running half spaces. Everyone is getting in good spots to be able to receive and play wide. But at the end of the day, that's not how you score goals. Score goals is like, I am going to execute in front of the goal, right? And that the best chance we had tonight was Jesus on the back post, with a great cross from Dom. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, the quality in the final third is lacking. The quality. And the only one that's able to play beyond the tactics and make plays is Diego Luna. And again, he scored more than his fair share of goals this year. And we just got to find a way, maybe tweak it a little bit more, maybe add, some more pace and power up front. We got to find a different solution, because after games, I'm saying the same thing, where the team's playing great, we're controlling the games, we're dictating it, we're getting balls into offensive areas that we want, but at the end of the day, the final product is going to be the same. So that's going to be our challenge moving forward, because again, I think defensively we did a good job, and then the other part too is, if you're not scoring goals, you can't give up goals like we gave up today. And we had two chances to clear the ball or knock it out for a corner, to see another play. And I think in the moment that we're going through offensively, where we just don't have enough firepower, you can't be giving up soft goals like that when you have control of the moment.
Lastly, for me, you mentioned some guys kind of running on fumes at this point. Tight schedule, a lot of games this time of year. How are you seeing? How are you guys managing minutes? And is there concern at all about the sheer number and the volume of matches right now?
Not necessarily. I think every team has to do it, and that's why all these guys are playing is because this is a group that we have, and we got to try to find, some sort of attacking spark that's going to put some goals in the back of the net, and so. We can't bring anyone in. There's no, we've got to work with the players that we have and put them in best positions, to make plays. And so I don't think it's as much the schedule as it's, because even when we didn't have 3-game schedules, we still struggled to score goals. And so that I think that's going to be the focus of this week and every week moving forward until we start doing that.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Yep.
We'll stay in the room here with Matt Casey.
Hey, Matty, how are you?
What was your message to the team in the locker room afterwards?
It was basically like, I think these rivalry games, derby matches are always, a lot of them are dictated by innocuous moments that you don't think are going to be dangerous because it's going to be two teams really fighting with a lot of passion, a lot of emotion. And so I said, there's a fine line of emotion you must have to make sure that you're also thinking the game clearly because it's going to be a set piece. It's going to be a long throw. And in this case, it was a couple missed defensive actions that led to a goal that where again, goals where we're numbers down and the team breaks us down and they switch it and they attack. You hold your hand up and you say, great job. But when we're numbers up in and around our box and the warning bells don't go off, like this is not the moment to try to keep the ball. This is the moment to clear it, toe poke it, give them a corner, whatever it is so again, I think the struggle is really, it's a young group and you can't give them these experiences, but they have to learn from now this experience. And so, I think that's really the biggest challenge. And so that, and again, the question was who besides Diego Luna is going to step up and make a play offensively? Like, because we have players that are capable of doing that. And, like if it's not the hard runs in the box, it's the lack of quality in the cross. It's the precision. And that's really it. And that's really it. Because again, the guys gave maximum effort. The guys executed tactically what we wanted to achieve. It's just that decision-making and the confidence in and around goal, which again is the hardest thing to do football. That's why you pay big money for these players because it's the hardest thing to do, right? And so we've got to find a way with our group that may not have the most experience, that are struggling scoring goals, to put them in positions, maybe play a little bit more vertical. So we'll be hammering those things out this week in order to put us in a better position to where we're not these 0-0 games. After so much time, it starts putting a lot of pressure on the defense to be perfect. And we need to find that a better balance between that.
There you go. That is Pablo Mastroeni. RSL loses again. I got to tell you about our title sponsor, DJ and PK. Proudly is presented by our title sponsor, Black Desert Resort, Utah's premier golf resort. Coming up next, DJ and I had an opportunity to talk to David Locke the other day. We're going to replay that, get some good Jazz info. Stay with us right here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, proudly presented by our title sponsor, Black Desert Resort. We're joined now by David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz. David, good morning.
What could be better than a little DJ and PK in the morning, getting to chat with two of the legends of the business? There's one thing that could be better, and that's Janet Jackson as the lead-in when you're talking to DJ and PK in the morning.
You know, it could be better.
Not having the fifth pick of the draft.
There it is. The number one pick in the draft would be better. Yeah. And yet again, number one slides to number 5, and there is outrage. But, David, the reason we have a lottery is so that the team can't dump games, lose games, and get the number one pick. This happened literally for the reason that it was designed to happen, which everybody's okay with until they're the ones sitting in the number one slot. Then it's terrible.
That's so funny. I just ended the podcast today, and that's literally the last thing I said is for all you out there, they're like, this is fixed. The NBA sucks. I'm no longer following the NBA. No. The whole point by the NBA is they do not want you to do what the Utah Jazz, Washington Wizards, and Charlotte Hornets did last year, and they built an entire system to try to not make it advantageous, and it wasn't as advantageous as it could have been. So, yes, the NBA has no idea what they're doing. It's completely wrong. No, it's exactly what they wanted to do.
Well, yeah, but I don't know about that because the argument is to prevent it or make it stupid to tank, and next year we'll have the same teams tanking again. So why is it so great?
Right. Yeah, no, 100%, right? I don't know the answer here, and there's some landscape things in the league that are changing that are making it so with free agency really no longer being a viable way to build a roster other than really rare occasions. So then all of a sudden there's really only two ways to build your roster. One is you trade, but since you're good, you don't want to trade your good players, so you're trading your draft assets for players. And the only other thing you do is you trade your players, if you're not trying to be good anymore, to those teams who are trying to be good for draft assets, which then makes your draft asset more important. These are the only two ways right now to build a roster in the NBA. And so I don't have a good answer for you. I'm not saying they're right. I'm just saying the argument that the league is fixed. This is all the shows how. No, this is exactly what the league wants to have happen. This is exactly it.
Then throw it open, and there is no lottery. All 32 teams are in the lottery.
Well, there are only 30.
30. You know that.
And
He's anticipating Vegas and Seattle.
Put them all in. That would be a TV show.
That would be interesting. Are you weighing it at all, or are they all even?
No. Everybody has the same equal chance. And televise it.
Why not just go to the wheel?
Whichever way you want to, whatever word you want to use. And televise. Don't do it in some other room. Televise it live as it happens.
Can you do, could you build a system, I'm making this up as we go along, where you cannot have the same pick within
if you want
X
to.
amount of years, without X amount of years. I was going to say 30, but then by the end of it, on the 30th year, you just have everybody slotted into a pick they haven't had. And basically by the 29th, you have the same thing. So it would probably not work. But do you have something where every 10 years you cannot draft the same position you've already been drafted in?
I'm not so concerned about that because we've seen players get drafted. Kwame Brown, Olowokandi, Wiseman here by the Warriors recently. Just because you have a high pick, Cantor with the Jazz, doesn't mean you're going to get a good player. They can screw it up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a real catch-22 here, right? That on one level you don't want people tanking, so you've made it disadvantageous or less advantageous. And then on the other side, you go present this model of everyone has an equal chance in the draft, and teams say, well, how do we possibly rebuild? So there's a total catch-22, and that no answer seems to be a good one.
Isn't Detroit one of the teams that dropped from 1 to 5 1 year? I mean, it's happened multiple times.
Multiple times to Detroit.
Right,
yeah.
And they rebuilt anyway. Look at them now. They're a playoff team. They're good. They've got good young players.
No, virtually everyone that goes and tanks for 2 or 3 years ends up in the playoffs. Almost everyone. The teams that we quote talking about not doing it didn't actually go down far enough. Sacramento lived between 6 and 10 all those years. But Washington has been an incompetent franchise in regards to winning. Did make the playoffs with John Wall and Bradley Beal for a few years. Almost every single team that has had a top 5 pick or finished in the bottom 5 in the standings for 3 years in a row makes the playoffs. There were 7 of the 16 teams this year that would fall under that qualification in this year's playoffs.
Do you think they're going to draft fifth, or do you think they're going to trade up into the, not the first spot, but second or third and get somebody that they really value?
So I think there's something really interesting. 3, 4, 5 all have, there's 5 really good players in this draft. So the Jazz are getting a really, really good player. And in my opinion, this is not universal. I don't have Jeremiah Fears in that list, and I don't have Con Knipple in that list. So I have Trey Johnson, Ace Bailey, and BJ Edgecombe as the 3 players after Cooper and Dylan Harper. And so if the Jazz have one of them that they think is dramatically better than the others, and they offer Philadelphia the 21st pick, can they get the 3? That seems like a reasonable trade to me. If I'm Philadelphia and I've got tax problems, and I don't have one of the 3 guys that I think is dramatically better, that's the key right there. Philadelphia can't believe the same thing. And I can get another player 21 and have Philadelphia's got some roster money issues. Maybe I'm willing to do that. If I'm Charlotte and there's let's say Ace Bailey goes and we really believe that BJ Edgecombe or Trey Johnson or Jeremiah Fears is an elite level player, and we offer the 21st pick to Charlotte, the other guy, and Charlotte doesn't believe the same thing, seems like that's a really reasonable trade.
Yeah, I can buy that. I don't know that we necessarily needed the results of the lottery to confirm this, but since it was the 5th pick, what's your level of, of confidence, but maybe conviction that the record and the playing time and all that we saw in the 24-25 season will reflect almost the same point in the 25-26 season?
Who are you? I didn't follow who were. I thought you were heading toward our draft pick.
Yeah.
Who are you referring to in regards to play? Oh, I think our draft pick will play 30 minutes tonight.
Right. So the results that we saw on the floor this year will mirror what we see next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Meaning they have to go through at least one more draft before they can start to think about making a move.
Yeah, people get really mad at me when I say this, but hopefully 2 more.
2 more?
What? I'm about to get really mad at you, David.
My point is, if you start down this road, the worst thing you can do is bail out.
Yeah, I agree.
So the teams that have bailed out, that almost has never worked. So you do this for a few years, and you start adding pieces around with veterans that are ready to play and bring support, and then the next step is the really hard one. The one after that is then you got to, like Houston did this for 3 years. They have a bunch of pieces now. Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks are probably not championship pieces, and I'm not sure. I think Amen Thompson's pretty special. I think he's going to be like Giannis. So they probably have their guiding star for the future, but their next step in building is really hard. Detroit has Jaden Ivey. They have Jalen Duren. They have Cade Cunningham. They have Asur Thompson. They've got their 4 guys. They did Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr. That's not an answer. They got to do something different and build this thing around their guiding star, Cade Cunningham. They're in the most difficult stage. Orlando's done it with Paulo and Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs. They added Contavious Caldwell-Pope fairly unsuccessfully. We'll see what they do next. They need to do something, and they're pretty inactive. Memphis did it with Desmond Bain, John Morant, J. Aaron Jackson Jr., and then they screwed up. Went after Marcus Smart, might have derailed the whole dang thing. So that's the model. It's difficult, and it gets harder as time goes on.
When you say 2 more years of this, do you mean resting 23-year-olds because they're good enough to help you win and they're afraid they might win the game? Or are you talking about being super committed to young players and that just naturally leads to, 25 and 57 seasons?
I mean the latter.
Okay.
I think if we start a roster next year, if our starting lineup next year is Keontae George, Trey Johnson, Taylor Hendricks, he's back, Lowry Markkinen, and Walker Kessler. That's where we start the year. That probably doesn't win a lot of games.
Understood. Is there anything that can be done now? I mean, having the lottery for everybody is probably extreme, and they'll never really do that. But can they do anything that can wait? Because they're not going to eliminate tanking. It's the curse of basketball in that all these other drafts, maybe football is the exception too, but football is such a big numbers game that a fourth-round pick can be extremely valuable to you. And if you have multiple third-round picks, they get all excited because of the number of bodies that you need to compete. But in basketball, guys can come in at the top of the draft or wherever they're drafted if they're good enough and make such a huge difference that the draft, it takes on such a level of importance that I'm not sure is there in the other sports. But you wonder, because it's so arbitrary, and then you can have big time results that can last for a long time. And I'm looking at San Antonio. They win the lottery when you got Robinson and Duncan there, and then they get a number 1 pick, and then 2 years later they get a number 2 pick. And it's so random in a sense, but yet it could be so helpful to the franchise and devastating to the people that are to teams that are competing with them. Can there be anything done that, like you were talking about, that you can't get another pick so high, or can they weight the system differently to somehow make it? I don't know that there's any answers to it, but it just seems that I don't want San Antonio to luck into Robinson and Duncan and then get Wembanyama and then 2 years later get a second pick. And who knows if Dylan Harper might be the greatest thing since whatever. And we're looking at another great run by them. And what did they do to get that? They lost. It just doesn't seem right.
So I agree with you. And the Spurs' propensity for luck is a little overwhelming. We're in the epicenter of it right now, so it feels very, very, I think for us, what I kind of keep going back to, like if you're the league and you're trying to fix something, and we keep going back to that kind of concept, as though something's broken and has to be fixed, like it's broken to us right now as Utah Jazz fans because of the fact that we didn't get the number 1 pick. It's probably broken to Washington Wizards fans, but I'm not sure it's actually broken the league at all.
It doesn't have to be broken. Can't they improve it, though?
But I think you'd have to get them to understand why what are they, like, I don't think it's bad for the league that Cooper Flagg went to Dallas.
No, it's great for the league that he goes to a big market team. That's the point. They have a 1.8% chance.
It's actually good for the league that he went to a good team. Like, he could go to Washington, D.C., which is a mammothly big market, but if he's just dueling on a team that's not any good, that's not great for the league.
Yeah, I don't know that this was great for the league. I don't know that this was great for Dallas. I mean, in the short run, sure, but he's teamed with a 32 and a 33-year-old. The 32-year-old is routinely injured. The 33-year-old just tore his ACL. I think this could lead to Dallas being stuck in the middle, and we got new ownership. We don't know how well run that franchise is or isn't going to be. We got the Doncic trade, which seems like a pretty big red flag, but it's still just one moment.
Yeah, back to PK's point, I guess you have to, from a league standpoint, you got to figure out what you really think is broken. And I just don't think that it's, even this year when we were going through whatever, the tank, whatever you want to call it. And everyone was like, oh, they can't have this. It's terrible. Not sure it was that bad for the league, right? It's not great for the Utah Jazz on that moment, and certainly the lottery wasn't very good for the Utah Jazz. But when we talk about trying to fix something or change it, it has to be bad for the league. And I don't think that what's going on right now in any of this is actually that bad for the league.
Then why'd they fine him if it wasn't so bad for the league?
over the bow to make sure it didn't get any worse.
Okay, well, if it's worse, that means it's got to be bad.
Yeah, no, well, the league. Okay, so that was not good for the league, and the league fined them. Right. So that's an example of yes, the league deemed that as bad, and they took action. I'm not sure the league sees what we're talking about as bad and worthy of taking action.
I think in these discussions, it's best to just follow the money. And the TV networks and streaming services just gave the league $76 billion over 11 years. So the league's doing just fine. And I would say for people, worried about the whole, how does a small market rebuild? Oklahoma City, Indiana, Minnesota, these are not glamorous places or massive markets, and they're doing just fine in the playoffs.
I mean, we really we're about to have Indiana, Oklahoma City, and hope not. Go Denver. But we're about to have Indiana, Oklahoma City, and Minnesota as the three of the four final teams. It's pretty hard to argue that market size is dictating performance.
Yeah, I don't know that people are arguing that. I mean, that then you get into the real big time conspiracy theory. I mean, I don't know that they're just fine is good enough. They want every last dollar.
That's true. Yes, they do.
but to the dollar point, which I don't disagree with at all, the TV networks gave all the money, or I don't even know if they're TV networks anymore, right? Like
streaming services, yeah.
The services gave the league all this money. If Charlotte, Washington, and Utah are losing lots of games, that has zero impact on the streaming services.
Yeah, I understand that.
Right.
But you're still trying to grow. You don't want to stagnate.
Absolutely. I mean, there's going to be another negotiation one day,
right.
And there's already a commissioner, and there are multiple clubs thinking about that. And you want to win. Winning's fun. It's just great.
I'm like literally texting Alan Horton, the Timberwolves play-by-play announcer, last night asking if I can do stats for them if Denver beats Oklahoma City. Like, I like Alan a lot, but I don't like him enough to go to Oklahoma City. So I'd go to Denver. But I'm literally trying to figure out how I'm going to a Western Conference final game if Minnesota's playing Denver. It's amazing. I'm watching that game last night just going, God, I want to be there so badly. So, I'm with you. But, we're trying to have a reasonable conversation about fixes and this and that and broken. We got to get out of the lens of just looking at it from the Utah Jazz. We're trying to fix the league. We got to look at it from the league. I don't think it's broken.
Do you like any of these players more than others at 5?
So I really think Ace Bailey has a chance to be really, really, really good. I really like Trey Johnson. I got to tell you what, watching this year versus last year is just an incredible difference. I mean, last year, literally, you're watching players and you are grasping for the tiniest, littlest. If you remember, I came on the air with you last year talking about how much I like Cody Williams. The true plays I liked best by Cody Williams were turnovers. Literally turnovers. He burst through a double team, split the double team with an explosion, one threw the ball into the third row of the stands across the way, and the other way he lost control of the ball in the dribble. And I thought those were signs of that he was better than other players in the draft. That's literally how brutal watching players was last year. This is so different. These guys are all and the numbers are so different. The numbers there's very few players that red flag. The BYU kid red flags on shooting, but very few kids red flag. Last year, every Stephen Castle red flag. And I'm still not sure. Stephen Castle won Rookie of the Year. I'm still not sure. If I'm San Antonio, I'm off him. They can't have De'Aaron Fox and Stephen Castle in their backcourt. You can't have two guys shooting 30% from three. So, this is such a different ballgame. This is Trey Johnson is going to score 20 points a game in the NBA. I'm certain of it. VJ Edgecombe's just a world-class athlete. The comp is Victor Oladipo, and I don't think it's a terrible comp. Comps are never right, but it's not a terrible comp. So I think those three kids, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, and Trey Johnson, are all terrific, and so one of them's going to be there at 5. I probably like Trey Johnson and Ace Bailey a little bit more than I like VJ Edgecombe, but VJ, you guys saw him. I mean, he torched BYU. Everyone saw that one up close and personal. That's your fifth pick. That doesn't seem too terrible.
All right, that was David Locke. We talk to him every Friday. Thought we'd replay that, give you some good information on what he's thinking as far as the lottery. Is it rigged? Can the NBA fix it? All that type of stuff. Also got to tell you, we're giving away Cody Johnson tickets all week long on DJ and PK. Tune in during the 8 a.m. hour for your chance to win. All right, coming up next, I believe there were 3 big stories of the weekend. We will get to that next. Stay with us. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning. Thanks for waking up this early Monday morning, May 19th. DJ and PK. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about for sure. Remind me. I need you guys. This is PK, obviously. I need you to remind me. Today is my sister's birthday. I got to call her later today. She'd be disappointed if I don't, right? Yeah, she lives in Arizona. I won't see her. I saw her last weekend, though. And it was 100 degrees last weekend in Phoenix when I was down there on a little long weekend. And then you come up here, my gosh, this weekend, not the same as down there. But hold on, people. Sunny days are coming. Well, we got a lot to talk about on this Monday morning. I think there were 3 big sports stories over the weekend that will interest us. And there's more than that for sure. But I'm going to go with 3. I'm going to start it off with they had rivalry weekend in baseball, MLB. So you had the Yankees and the Dodgers. They finished up their series last night at Yankee Stadium. You had all the interstate, or is it intrastate, Cleveland and Cincinnati, that type of thing. The Rangers and who's the other team in Dallas? I think it's Houston Astros, right? Yeah, I know it is. And so you had all that going on. Locally, if there's such a thing, you had the Dodgers and the Angels. How about that? The Dodgers and the Angels, you know what the story was there? Oh, my goodness gracious. The Angels swept the Dodgers. How about that? Yeah, in Dodger Stadium, Chavez Ravine. My favorite stadium. Yeah, still my favorite stadium after all these years. The 3rd oldest stadium in MLB. Obviously behind the Boston Red Sox play in Fenway and the Chicago Cubs play in Wrigley. I've been to both of those places. Been to Wrigley multiple times, only been to Fenway once, but we'll get back. I was there for the 100th anniversary several years back. And it was a Sunday afternoon game. It was hot. They ran out of ice, so you couldn't get any cold drinks. Can you believe that? They ran out of ice. How do you do that? That's crazy. And my wife and I were there on a trip, and after the game, we had some tickets that were down right field. We were taking pictures behind the backstop, and some stadium workers, "Oh, you got to go. Come on, let's go. We're closing up." I said, "My friends, I've waited my whole life to be here, so you just relax a few more minutes because we're taking pictures behind home plate from the backstop. So relax from the first row behind the backstop." And once I said that, they did relax. We also took the tour. Got there at like 10 in the morning. That was way cool. A fine time was had. Baseball stadiums hold a little bit of a lore for me as opposed to NBA arenas or NFL stadiums. I mean, I would like to be to all of them, but I think the baseball stadiums are a little bit more special. Gonna knock off at least one more. I'm down to, I think, 8. I think 7 if you count the Mets with Shea Stadium, but I can't count that. I was there when I lived back there many times at Shea Stadium, and now they got Citi Field. And actually, I think I'm going to knock off that one. So I'm going to knock off 2 this summer. Saw a baseball game last week, saw the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks in Phoenix. Going to go up to Toronto this year. I'll knock off that, knock off Citi Field, I just said, and then probably head our way down to Philadelphia, Citizens Bank Ballpark, to see the Phillies. My wife has a nephew who lives in Philadelphia, starting medical school next month. I've already been to that stadium one time. I've been to Philly many, many times over the years, sort of a second home for me. And big news coming out of Philadelphia. Did you see that? Jose Alvarado suspended 80 games. He's their big old closer. and he's gone now. He's out of here. 80 games. So if you do the math, if there's no rainouts or whatnot, doubleheaders, however it may be, he can't come back until mid-August. Yeah, and he's really important to that team. And so he gets the 90 or 80 game PED suspension. And then what is the bigger story? Obviously, missing 80 games is huge. But Philly's got a really good team. They've been in the playoffs a number of years, right? And they are expected to get there this year. We'll see if him being out changes it. But the rules stipulate that he cannot pitch in the postseason. That will be a major development. We'll see if the Phillies make a move. Closers, really good ones, they don't grow on trees, man, that's for sure. And, of course, it was the positive test was caused by a weight loss drug that Alvarado took during the offseason. Their team president, Dombrowski, said, Dave Dombrowski, it's not something he did knowingly. I believe that the way he talked to me. Now, isn't that the way it is? Does anybody do it knowingly? Anybody do anything wrong knowingly? Just seems like that's what they say over and over again, that I did not knowingly use this or that. And he's a big, hefty guy, so maybe he was trying to lose weight. And then he loses $4.5 million of his $9 million salary. Hoo-hoo. Man, that's a lot of cash to be losing, if you ask me. I wouldn't have any idea how it is to lose that money because I wouldn't have any idea how it is to make that money. So we'll see how that goes. And that was one of the big stories over the weekend. As I used to not be for interleague play, but you got to come around. You got to embrace the new, and interleague play has been around for a number of years, but I thought the sanctity, the purity of the National League versus the American League, but that doesn't apply anymore. The fans have responded, and they know what they're talking about, and they want to have that, and they respond completely, so that's what I do. I respond completely to it also. I'm all for it now. The fans want it. It's about entertainment. Same thing with the designated hitter. I held off on the designated hitter for years. But both leagues have it. I thought it was ridiculous that he didn't have it, and you'd go different rules depending on which park you were playing at, National versus American in the World Series. That seemed preposterous to me. Fortunately, they got rid of that. I'm all for the DH now. I've accepted that. You got to go with the times, don't you? Or you get left behind. That's an old Kyle Whittingham line. You got to move on or you're going to get left behind. Now I'll move on to what was I consider the second biggest story. The PGA Championship. Scotty Scheffler, the Wanamaker Trophy is his. He got his third major on Sunday at Quail Hollow back there in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he got it easily, I think. You know, he was in the mix on Thursday and Friday. Saturday, he got himself in position to take the lead, and then he wraps it up with a 5-stroke victory. There was not a lot of drama in the back nine. I know John Rahm, I think they both got to 9 under for a bit, and then Rahm blows up. What did he double? The final 2 holes, so he didn't even finish in the top 3. No, that didn't work at all. There was a brief moment that essentially it was something that, okay, maybe we got some competition, but that did not happen whatsoever. In fact, the 5-stroke victory came over Harris English, Bryson DeChambeau, and Davis Riley. So what do we make of Scheffler? As Rahm imploded on what they call the Green Mile, Quail Hollow's treacherous 3-hole closing streak. Meant something to Scheffler, that's for sure. He threw his arms in the air as the crowd chanted his name. He spiked his hat on the green. Of course, he finds his wife and then his young son, Bennett. Oh, my gosh, he's a dad. It means so much to him. I get a little tired of that story because everybody's a dad who has kids, and it means so much to them. And remember, Scheffler, what was it, 366 days ago? He was in handcuffs in the back of a squad car, if you recall. There was that unfortunate incident. There was an accident. A man died, lost his life. Scotty was trying to go around or something. And next thing you know, he was in jail. That was a crazy story. So Scheffler joins Seve Ballesteros, the Spaniard, who is died way too young, I think like 54, as the only golfers in the past 100 years to win each of their first 3 majors by more than 3 strokes. How about that? That's something that DJ would love, that type of bizarre stat. So he captured the 22 Masters by 3 over Rory McIlroy and the 24 Masters by 4 over Ludwig Aberg. I don't know. I keep hearing his name pronounced 5 different ways. And it's the 15th PGA Tour victory for Scheffler. He's 28 years old, right? And since World War II, only 2 golfers have won 15 times on tour and captured 3 majors before age 28 or 29, not 28, 29, excuse me. And how about this? You want to know, so I'll say that again since I screwed it up. Since World War II, only 2 other golfers have won 15 times on tour and captured 3 majors before the age of 29, right? So that means there's a total of 3, and obviously Scheffler is one of them. You know who the other 2 are? Oh, just take a guess. I'll give you a second. You may have heard of them, even if you're not into golf. I'm pretty sure you've heard of them because you know who they are? The other 2 golfers who've won 15 times on tour and captured 3 majors before the age of 29. Yeah, they would be Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. Yeah, you heard of them, right? So, where is this going with Scotty Scheffler? Is he going to be an all-timer? Well, with the 3 majors, he's certainly on his way. You get multiple majors, and he's not even 30 yet, as I just said. So there's no reason to think that he couldn't have a prime that doesn't last at least until 35. Yeah, I think for sure that he's got a good 6 years of his prime, maybe more. Why not? The way these guys take care of themselves and the money that they have available to hire all these specialists in their lives, I think so. I think that can be the case. And what will it mean? Where will he finish when it comes to that, right? Oh, my gosh. I'd like to see it. Why not? I loved watching Tiger. Didn't get, I saw a little bit of Jack, but when he was truly in his prime, I realized he won the Masters at age 46 and 86, and I would have been plenty old enough to remember that. But when he was doing his thing in the 60s, yeah, wasn't old enough to remember. Wasn't into golf. Didn't really get into golf until I got into high school. So that would have been 10, 15 years before I was following golf. My dad followed it. My father followed it. That's why I love golf, is because of him. And I was golfing over the weekend, got paired up with a retired guy, and he said, "Oh, you're pretty decent. I bet you started early." Yeah, like 14, 15 years of age. He didn't start until, like he said, 6 years ago, and he wasn't very good. He was kind of making excuses for not being good, but I guess those are reasons. And you look at all these guys today, gosh, 14, 15? No, they've been playing tons of junior golf tournaments by the time they're that age. I didn't. We didn't have the finances for me to be able to do that type of thing, and I probably wouldn't have been any good anyway. I'm happy with how good I am for what I can do on a golf course. I love the sport and love watching Scheffler. We'll see if he can do it some more. I bet you he can. All right. Now, the third biggest story, not necessarily, I'm not going in order, actually, so you can argue that it's the first biggest story, depending on what your interest is, or the biggest story, depending on what your interest is. And that's clearly the NBA playoffs, right? And we had a Game 7 yesterday afternoon, and boy, it was a snoozer. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they just destroyed the Denver Nuggets. What was it, by 32 points, I think it was. Yeah, so it was not much of a Game 7. It started out a little bit. Started out thinking, oh, maybe we got something here, as the Nuggets took, a 10, 11, 12 point lead. But that went away in a heartbeat. So what we have here is the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Oklahoma City, they they had the number one seed. They had the league best 68-14. They were the youngest team to win at least 60 games. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens as the next few years roll on. Because if they get to the NBA Finals this year, which, you know, I'd have to think they're favored. They're playing the 6th seed Minnesota Timberwolves, but Minnesota's got some run going on, right? They've got some momentum, I think. So what do you think as far as this series? I believe this one gets underway Tuesday. Obviously, the Thunder will have the home court to start. I hope it goes longer, 6, 7 games, then maybe it could. Don't know. You never know what's going to happen. I would think Minnesota would be able to give them a run for their money. This is Oklahoma City's first trip to the conference finals since 2016. So all you Jazz fans out there that are feeling down about this rebuild that just seems to last in perpetuity, I get it. But the Thunder, they got to the top themselves, right? They did it. Got to acknowledge it. They were able to win enough games and draft players, or lose enough games is what I was trying to say. They lost, lose enough games. Got good draft picks, made the SGA trade, and filled out some free agents, and away they go. And here they are. And I have to think they're the favorite, but I don't know. Who do I want to win? I can't decide right now. I'm not sure. Ultimately, I really don't care. I just want to be entertained. But what would I want to see as far as an NBA Finals? Probably the Knicks on the other side. And they destroyed the Celtics, on Friday. So they'll play the Pacers. That series gets going, on Wednesday. I think I would want to see the Knicks. No, nothing against the Pacers. I don't have any problem with the Pacers. But get the big market team in there. The team of my youth growing up, only about 25 miles away on the other side of the state line in New Jersey, North Jersey as they call it. I was a Knick fan in terms of following them for sure. Oh, I follow them religiously. I could name all their guys. Had posters and all that stuff. So I consider myself an old-time Knick fan, although my fandom didn't necessarily reside in winning and losing. It just resided in teams that I had the most interest in, and that was the Knicks. I always just enjoyed the game rather than latching on to a single team. Went to several games in Madison Square Garden when I was a kid. Haven't been back there for years. So I think I would like to see the Knicks. But on the other side, on the West, I don't know, what do you think? Who do you like? One thing I will say is, how about this? You're going to have Minnesota or Oklahoma City in the finals. So you're going to have Minneapolis or OKC. So last week, all about the conspiracy theories of the lottery and Dallas getting the number one pick, so Flag can go there. Well, at least we can't say the big markets because these, I don't know their market sizes. I don't get into the TV stuff. That doesn't matter to me. DJ, when he gets back, he's going to be off today, I believe. In fact, I know. And so he would know their market size. For me, it doesn't really matter. I watch what I watch, and I don't really care about market size and any of that stuff. I care about talent and being entertained. So I'd certainly think this series has the opportunity to be entertaining. But you cannot say, the big market, the league is biased towards that, blah, blah, blah. That's out the window, man. We got more proof. We may have had it with Denver. Certainly Oklahoma City, way small. I've been there multiple times for work over the years, covering basketball, landing there to cover football. And all that stuff, and obviously it's to take you 5 minutes, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not much, to walk around downtown. They got the Brickyard there, which has nice restaurants and stuff, and has the AAA ballpark. So that's a fine city. I don't have any problem with it. Down the road is Norman, Oklahoma, 20 miles away, 25 miles away, whatever it is. But it is not a glorious place by any stretch of the imagination. Think about that one, right? Yeah, I think we can go there and have that as far as a conclusion and throw out the idea that, oh my gosh, it is about small markets or big markets. No, if you're good enough, you can get in there. So those are my 3 big stories of the weekend. And just a little What's Trending before What's Trending. We'll have more. Stay with us. We got some guests coming up. We got Bob Casper talking about the PGA. Hey, Sam Farnsworth from Channel 5, KSL Sports is going to join us at 9:30. And then we're going to continue also with our spring football tour. TCU, team that was in the playoff just a couple of years back. See what they got cooking. They have the opportunity to rebound a little bit. So stay with us. Coming up next, we will get to What's Trending, the 7 o'clock hour. Thanks for staying with us. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.